brought the Echo 590 out, and I got the Husky 460. Got kind of a small oak tree here. It's that one right there, and there's a stem that comes behind the other two. It's not really doing us any good being here. I've had to cut branches off it several times, so let's cut it up for firewood. Here on. And sadly, this poor tree has got a lot of that nice ivy vine on it, so I've got to work on getting that off of it. I think I have just the tools for that. Get this to stay snapped up. Safety first. Good. I brought my picaroon that I got from Fiskar. Works good for pulling that ivy away from that tree after I cut it. Alright, so I'm going to go back there and get it cleaned up, and you'll just see it drop, and then we'll get to cutting it up with this. I did choose to use the helmet with the eye visor versus the screen. Like that, I'd rather have that. One really funky growing tree. It's a blackjack oak, the same as that other one, and it has another 90-degree turn on it, so I'm going to get it cut. I could turn that into a saw log, but because it's been growing that way for years, it grew up and had that really big 90 on it. there's going to be a ton of tension in that wood, and I don't need that, you know. So that tree will be good to finish up the end of my season for firewood as far as getting it for next season, but I'm always looking for wood for the other seasons as well. So let's get on over here and get it cut. I'll show you how kind of weird it is. See those big old leaves. Look at them big old leaves. See, I had a 90 right there. So I mean, there's a saw log in there, but because of all that weight and all those years it's been growing, there'll be so much tension in there, it'll be horrible. So makes life a little bit easier when lifting them up. Plus this stuff is hard to split, so if I pre-split it a little bit, it will make life a lot easier. So this is what you do when you don't have the tractor with you. You work smarter, not harder. And I'll just load that up in the Toyota. I'll keep cutting that a little bit, and I'll take the strap around that and pull it out, or I'll just go run back up and get the tractor. I don't know. We'll find out. So let's get to cutting some more and see how the old Echo's doing. Alright, I'll bring you back when I get to pulling it out. So I'm just going to go through and slice it up and see what we end up with. Alright, I grabbed the Husqvarna 460. We'll run that a little bit, see what happens. Big difference, huh? Whew. Ah. Now you echo more than that. That one takes a while to get warmed up. When it warms up, it does okay, but it ain't that great. Of course, that one's been juiced up and had work done to it, but still, I think I prefer the Echoes more than I do the Huskies at this point in time. I am looking to get another Echo because I like that one so much. We'll see. Let's get cutting up this log. So you can see how it cuts into the log versus trying to rip it. That's always a little bit harder on a saw. Helmet, ear protection back on. I know you can't see me, but that's the price for getting up close. Can't have it both ways. So you get this helmet snapped. Woo! Alright, we're good to go now. Just got to get the little strap off my ears. It gets strap pivots inside the saw, inside the helmet. It can get off a little bit. Kind of a pain. Alright. when it gets warmed up, it does pretty good. But it takes a while to get warmed up. Like I say, this thing is it's a little fickle. It's running better than it was, but it is what it is. I enjoy the Echo a lot more, but I need to throw a quick sharpening on these, put some more fuel in them, and we'll get cutting it up a little bit. All right, I can tell you, in my opinion, running that Echo versus the Husqvarna, Echo wins hands down. As far as I'm concerned, there's no competition. The power, they're both 59cc. They both claim to be in the Pro line or the cross between the homeowner and the Pro line. And that little Echo has impressed me. And it's the first one I've ever owned. And I've had quite a few Huskies, and my history with Huskies not been good, except for when you get into the larger saws. I did order another Echo. I went with the 4920. Wanted something a little bit smaller for doing lightweight work. I don't need all these big saws, but I could use some smaller, lighter saws. In all honesty, I believe that 4920 would handle this tree fine. A little slower, but I think it will. But we're going to find out when I get it how it does compared to this one. So I'm going to run this Echo a little more. I'm going to break that log down a little bit so I can get the tractor under it. And I'm going to bring it back to where I'm the firewood area. Yeah, I'm going to cut that little section right there real quick, and I'm going to walk you over and show you a little something about this tree. If the tree wasn't rare, kind of rare to me around here, I would absolutely not consider using it anything but for firewood. It's hard to get camera angles. You need like 5 sets of hands. That's all right. Now, I don't know if you look back on the videos, but I had a tree just like this one. It was a marker. It was bent over for a property marker. And it had a 90 just like this one right here. And where I made those cookies was me cutting through there, slices through there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try it again, but not on the mill. We'll just cut it with this saw. And there's a hollow spot in the back, so it may be hollow in there. I don't know. Only one way to find out. might better cut that flat. Might make a neat little table or something like that. So this is hardwood to split. It's the fibers in it are a lot like white oak. So that's why I was cutting a lot of them down. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it still make a decent cookie. I mean, you could do a little something with it. As long as you treat it with that pentocril, it would work out fine. But not as nice as the other one. So, we'll just set them aside. I'll finish breaking this down. Makes it a little easier for me to load up. Now, let me take you over. I told you I'd take you over and show you. Let me take this off. Set that right there, and hopefully it'll stay there. Let's go over here and look at this log, and I'll kind of go over what was with it and why it wouldn't make a good log. So let's take a look from the end here. So you can see that cat face right there. You can even see a check in there. But if you look at that log, so the 90 came off this way, so all the stress was that way. So you see these cat faces and these checks right here. You see that one right there as it twists up there. You might be able to cut it parallel to that, and the lumber might be okay. Highly not. If you look, you can see it. See how it's twisted all through here? See that crack all through there? That's going to be firewood, because that is going to be cracking and checking. That is what you call wind checks. See how it's twisted around the log like that? That's because that tree leaned out over here, had branches that I could almost hit with the top of the tractor. I had already cut off a big section. So it had all that wind coming through this field over the years, moving that tree back and forth. That's why I figured heck with it, take it down, make it some firewood. It will never be anything else other than that. And it will always be growing down in my way here in the field. So best thing to do is cut that into a couple logs, take it down to the place where I process my firewood and cut it up and make firewood out of it. That's the best thing that could happen to that tree. So far for me, Steel and Echo have impressed me highly. Haven't been too impressed by Husky. I do have some of the clones of the larger saws. They seem to be doing okay, but Echo has highly impressed me. I'm very happy with it.